Here you go.
Hi, my name's Mulan. I happen to have the same claim as the person that came before me, but the difference on my claim is that terminally ill patients can effectively end their suffering through physician-assisted suicide. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have had someone in your life that has passed away, even if it was from lung cancer or something like small. You wouldn't want your loved one to pass away in any type of horrendous way, whether it's like blood clots or sorry, I'm like nervous. But basically what I'm trying to say is that my first claim is that terminally ill patients shouldn't have to suffer through the pains that they go through. According to Mayo Clinic staff, when a terminally ill patient has a tumor, they have constant headaches, they lose feelings in like their limbs and everything. So imagine going on your daily life, not be able to feel your leg, or your arm just goes out of nowhere. And sometimes they have unexplainable vomiting with many continuous symptoms. So basically, like these patients, like they go through their people that have brain tumors, like they are losing themselves day by day when they have this. And also, many terminal diseases can cause pain, according to the U.S. National Library of Medicine. A person with terminal illness can decide to pursue aggressive treatment or stop treatment altogether. There are like 5 states that she said previously that have accepted this, but however, a lot of people think that it's bad to have this because religion comes in standpoint and God has the will to kill you, like you should not have the choice to end your life. And also pursuing aggressive treatments for terminal illness, many may prolong a person's life, but stopping treatment could mean that the individual's experience is more comfortable death. I don't know about you guys, but I would rather die comfortable. I wouldn't want to die in excruciating pain or feeling like everything inside me is burning up, and I wouldn't want to live that life or laying on my deathbed looking at my family like, oh, I wish that we could heal you. It's not the way to go. My second claim is that terminally ill patients begin to lose the person they were before their sickness. According to AARP, about 85% of terminally ill patients suffer from cognitive changes around their final days, like when they're about to die. This can usually happen because the disease itself, depending on which type of cancer they have, or either because of the medication that they're on. Usually, like you guys watch the commercials, like they say like, oh, this will help you with this, but then it has like the little words that says like, oh, this can happen also. Like, if I'm dying, I would rather not take a medication that's going to kill me just as bad as the cancer that I have. And also, like, this is like a little side note, like a personal experience. Like, my friend did pass away from pancreatic cancer not too long ago, and that's not curable. So, day by day, she's the happiest person I knew, but day by day, you could see how this sickness was degrading her and how she became negative. She even apologized to us sometimes, how, oh, I'm sorry if I'm being angry, it's just this whole sickness thing, like, I can't take it anymore. And my third claim is that physician-assisted suicide will relieve the pain that a patient is going through. I don't know how many of you guys in here have pets, but when they do get old, you want to put them down. You don't want your pet to suffer through all the pain that they're going through. I don't want to compare a pet to a human, but I wouldn't want my mom to suffer through anything. I would rather let her choose that this is the way I want to go. Because there's about like 53 million people that die a day, and 2.7 million animals are euthanized each year. So I don't see how more people are able to put down their pets than they are able to die on their own choices. In the Vaca versus Quill case, there was 3 terminally ill patients who wanted a doctor's help to end their lives with a physician-assisted suicide, but they were not able to because New York put a ban on this. And sadly, these 3 patients are no longer living. Like, they died like in the middle of the case, and they were trying to fight for the right to do this, but it turns out like it was more okay for them to get the removal of their life support system than it was to take a lethal injection or something to end their life, which I find is very backwards because if you think about it, it kind of seems like the same thing. If I'm able to pull the plug on someone, I should be able to choose when I want to end my life because they were able to do the same thing. I'm just going to go back to what my major claim was, is that terminally ill patients shouldn't have to suffer and they should have physician-assisted suicide. So thank you.
All right, well, back-to-back physician-assisted suicide. Sorry about that. That's just the way it works out sometimes. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Your propositional statement was clearly identified. That was fine, although it does seem like there is some complication in the way it's phrased, so keep it more straightforward. There's no preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. You kind of dive right into the argument at the beginning of the speech, and so without a layout of the landscape in front of us, you know, we know generally where we're headed with this particular topic, but we're not taking some of the routes that even the previous speaker took, and we need to kind of know where you're heading. I think the pain and suffering kind of issue is an important point that you've got, and that's reasonable for us to have some expectation about what the content's going to be there. I think you get a little bit sidetracked at one point about what maybe the ethical objections are, and you want to be careful about that because we don't want an argument that's based on values for this particular assignment. I think there are probably more values involved than just the religious ones that you cite. There are plenty of social ethics that suggest that killing people is a bad idea, whether you are, Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, whatever. It's generally frowned upon. So so there are, I think, some ethical standards to be discussed here, but that's not for this particular assignment, and I think you get a little bit diverted when you talk about that. What I liked also is that you've got the second argument that talks about how terminal illness means that people are going to lose the person that they were. And I think that there's a good argument to be made here, and maybe developed a little bit more than you're actually able to do, that suggests that the idea that somebody just lives out their life ignores the fact that there are elements of their life that are important, that losing makes whatever time is left less useful, less meaningful, or potentially harmful. It could be, for example, destructive to a long-term relationship. You use the example of your friend who is certainly in a bad mood because she's dying. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine anything that would make you more depressed and angry about things. But here's the impact that it has. She's going to be gone, and you're going to be left with the bitter memories of her last days. And hopefully that your friendship is strong enough that you remember the good things instead of how terrible things were at the end. But there are families out there that have people that live with them that have been there a long time, and instead of having the fond memory of somebody's parent or child, they've got the memory of the irritable person that they had to take care of, who didn't want any help and was complaining all the time about those kinds of things. And that person would never have wanted their family to feel that way about that sort of thing. So I think there's a good argument to be made there, but it needs to be developed a little bit more. You're on the right track. It just felt like it was partially developed. I do think you need to cite the sources a little bit more. I heard the AARP citation, and there was some early information from the Mayo Clinic that had talked about some of those vague symptoms that people have. When you made the reference to the ads on television and all the side effects that are going, you say, I wouldn't want to die of something that I'm taking. Well, apparently you do, because that's what you want. You want doctors to give you something that's going to make you die. So you got to be careful about arguing inconsistently. What you mean is that there are side effects to some of the things that people might take that would sustain themselves that would have these harmful consequences, that would maybe create some pain and suffering, or might diminish the person who they were at one point and turn them into something else, turn them into a slug or an irritable person or somebody with some of those emotional problems, that kind of thing. I think that you've got the right idea there. The way you said it, though, was just kind of I don't want to say funny because it's not a funny subject, except that I have a morbid sense of humor, you know. So you don't want to take something that's going to kill you. Well, apparently that's what you're asking for, something that's going to kill you. You just want it to kill you in a different way. And so that's probably the way it ought to be phrased. All right. And don't worry about being anxious and nervous. We're all friends here. We're all helping each other. You know. We want you to do a good job. It's just us.